Black student has gone viral because the school decided he was not worthy of education because he has a particular hairstyle. Put up the picture full mass. We have an update to this story. Black student was sent to an alternative school over his locks, his hairstyle. In an update, Darryl George, after serving more than a month of in-school suspension over his dreadlocks, over his hair, over his hairstyle, the Texas student was told he will be removed from his high school and sent to the alternative school. They call it alternative education program. George, 18 years of age, is a junior at Barbers Hill High School and has been suspended since August 31st. It will be sent to what's called EPIC, EPIC. It's an alternative program from August 12th through November 29th for, and I quote, failure to comply. Sounds familiar? With multiple campus and classroom regulations, the principal said in a Wednesday letter provided to the Associated Press by the family. Okay? For that, what you're looking at right there, nothing behavioral, just a unique hairstyle that happens to be unique to Black people. Okay? There's more. Let's put them up full mass. Principal, what's about to happen, sir, is called pressure. You decided to put this young man under significant pressure because of your own bias and lack of understanding. Now, I'm here to provide a level of education for you. The principal who made this decision is Lance Murphy. Principal Lance Murphy wrote that George has repeatedly violated the district's, quote, previously communicated standards of student conduct. Let me pause on this point to keep this picture up. Principal Murphy, a hairstyle is not classified as conduct. Sir, there's more. The letter also says that George will be allowed to return to regular classroom instruction on November 30th, but will not be allowed to return to his high school's campus until then, unless he's there to discuss his conduct with school administrators. Keep up the picture. So let me get this right. He's able to come back without, as you would say, complying, as long as he's punished. But if he comes back to discuss his alleged behavior, he can come back to the school, no problem. You see, the fact that you are creating allowances is indicative of the fact that this is not a behavioral issue. If this was a behavioral issue, you cannot come to this school whatsoever because you are creating a disruption. You have a behavioral dynamic that will adversely impact the operations of this institution. But because it is not, you are providing opportunity for him to come back to the institution as long as he comes back either A, punished, or B, to kiss your ass. Principal. George's mother, Richey George, okay? And the family's attorney, Allie Booker, deny the teenager's hairstyle violates anything. Doesn't violate the dress code either. The family last month filed a formal complaint with the Texas Education Agency and a federal civil rights lawsuit against the state's governor and attorney general because they failed to enforce the new law that actually outlaws discrimination based on hairstyle. Laws are not recommendations, gentlemen. All right, the family alleges George's suspension and the subsequent discipline violate the state's Crown Act, which took effect September 1st. The law, an acronym for Create a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair, is intended to prohibit race-based hair discrimination and bars employers and schools from penalizing people because of their hair texture or protective hairstyles, including afros, braids, locks, twists, and two knots. A federal version passed in the U.S. House last year, but was not successful in the Senate. The school district also filed a lawsuit in state district court asking a judge to clarify whether it's a dress code restriction limiting student hair length for boys if that violates the Crown Act. The lawsuit was filed in the Chambers County east of Houston. All right, let me give you more background. Georgia school previously clashed with two other black male students over the dress code. Barbers Hill officials told cousins DeAndre Arnold and Caden Bradford that they had to cut their locks in 2020. Their family sued the district in May 2020, and a federal judge later ruled the district's hair policy was in fact discriminatory. Their pending case helped spur Texas lawmakers to approve the state's Crown Act. Both students withdrew from the school, with Bradford returning after the judge's ruling. So what do you have here? You have the law on the side of black people. You have the judicial ruling on the side of black people. You have the sentiment of the legislature on the side of black people. But you have one white male, put him up again, the principal, who has decided to ignore what we call judicial ruling, which creates case law. He has decided to ignore state statutory law, and obviously decided to ignore what we consider to be the will of the legislature. Sir, as I said, this is called pressure. All right. Aida, this is insanity.
Big ups to my girl, Ajoa Absamoa, who has been working on the Crown Act for many years. It's the policing of black bodies. Yep. It's the continuous believing that you have the right to manage, manipulate, touch. I've had people try to move me out the way without consent. People touch my hair without my permission. And as we get darker, it gets worse because the treatment of black people gets worse as the hues of our skin gets darker. But the reality, I think the interesting thing, Dr. Richey, is that it's amazing how they criminalize our styles. I'm a Puerto Rican Dominican woman who identifies with my African roots, and I grew up with my hair braided, honoring the people from my past, my ancestors. How it's criminalized, and it has such a negative connotation when we do it. But when you look at the runways in Europe, you see Marc Jacobs having Bantu knots on the Kendall Jenner saying he came up with it. You see, people wearing the braid styles that were part of, some people's passage to safety during slavery. They have meanings to us. It's not just, and we have the right to fashion without heaviness, but it has meaning to us. And then they get to rock it and it's just fashionable. They own it, they steal it, they claim it. But then when we own it, they want to attach such a negative connotation to it. And that's not cool. It's not cool.
Not cool at all. And really, frankly, the school board should be looking into this because you have a principal who's literally creating a liability for the entire district. This is not a good thing, regardless of how you look at it. And even if you have a personal opinion that's contrary to the law is the law. You got an issue here. All right, we will bring you updates as they come.